Hi, this is Linda with KC Creations by Linda. I'm doing a tutorial for Digi and SVG Designs for You to use her new creation she made, her leather papers. This is a suitcase journal. You're going to need some chipboard. If you don't have chipboard, that's okay. Use like a real sturdy cereal box, something that dog treats come in, one of the good sturdy ones. You're going to need all of these pieces, and I hope you can see what I wrote. This is going to be the front flap. It measures 9 inches by 3 inches. This will be the top. It measures 9 by 4.5. The back, 9 by 6. This is the bottom. It measures 9 by 4.5. It's identical to the top. And the front is identical to the back, 9 by 6 inches. What I use, as I've sampled all kinds of paper, and this works best, this is actually a roll of packing or packaging paper that you can get at any stationery stop. You can get it at Walmart in the, where the bubble wrap and the boxes and all that is, comes in a huge roll. I like it because it works nice, it doesn't crack, and you can cut as long a piece as you want since it's in a great big roll. So we've got all of our pieces cut, and we're going to start gluing them down. Now, to get the measurements, if you want to be exact, I've done it so many times I can just kind of eyeball it, but if you want some help when you lay down your pieces, if you want to take a scrap and just butt it up against it, that kind of gives you an idea, if you get it straight, gives you an idea of the spacing that you need. And it would be the width of your board, your chipboard, your box, whatever it is. You don't want to get it really far apart because then it'll be wobbly. They're very simple to put together. It's just takes a little bit of time. You're going to cover the entire piece with glue. I use Aleene's tacky glue. You can use the glue of your choice, but not a glue stick. It's not strong enough. A lot of people use score tape. I have done it that way, but it makes it a little bit harder, because then if you do use score tape, double-sided tape, just take and put glue over your tape, and that gives you the wiggle room you need in case you laid it down it was a little bit crooked. And all I did when I cut it out, I leave approximately 1.5 inches all around the edges to lap over. Just get the first one, lay it down here kind of straight. And this is very important. Give it a really firm rub, and rub it several times, because you don't want any wrinkles, or the least amount of wrinkles. They will be covered up, but you still don't want them there. Could make your paper buckle a little bit and not lay down right. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, so I have this horrible cough. And you want apple glue. Make sure your edges, we don't really care if it oozes out around the edges because we're going to fold that over. And just lay it down there. This is where you would use another piece to stick it in there if you wanted to measure. Just make sure that it's even all the way down, that your edges are even top and bottom. It'll move on you just a little bit. That's okay. You can get it back. Sorry if my head got in the camera. I can't see the lens from where I'm at, so. Now we're going to glue down the back. hold it real firm with one hand. Keep it from moving. A lot of people use a roller. You can use one if you want. You can even use a rolling pin. But I just use my hands. That's why my hands are always gluey and inky. Now we're going to glue down the bottom. I don't know if you have seen her leather paper yet. It is, she gives you a ton to select from. There's feminine, there's ornate ones, there's masculine. I really loved them. And since I made suitcases, I contacted her and said, could you please make me some leather paper? Because I am not a designer by any means. That is not my wheelhouse to do. And you can measure if you want here. Again, this is the bottom that we're gluing down. Now we're going to glue down the front. My husband and I just moved to Texas last August, and we are so much enjoying this weather compared to what we had in Colorado. It would still be snowing on us and cold. I've already got, my roses are already blooming. All the plants are blooming. It's wonderful. I'm not a cold person, and we lived in Colorado, I think, 32 years. Kind of a long time if you don't like the cold. Let's get that lined up. Did a good enough job there. Kind of went uphill a little bit. That's okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to slice off all four corners at an angle, and we're going to leave approximately 1/4 of an inch from the end of our chipboard to our paper. You can measure if you want. I'm just giving it a shot here. Add a little bit there, don't know. I really went crooked. Now, before you start, I know this is a lot to see in the camera, so I'll just start explaining. I'm going to stick my hand underneath the cardboard and kind of curl it over. And I'm going to bend the paper up against the chipboard before we start gluing. Just kind of helps it to form to where we want it. See how it's all curling in for us? Now these were some scrap pieces I had from cutting out this big piece. I'm just going to measure it here. And this is to cover up this crease here. And then these will fold over the top of it. You're going to need 4 of them. Again, you can measure this. You can put it on a trimmer. It's all going to be covered up. Get a sip of water here. pieces don't have to be pretty. The one is going to see them. The only part that shows is right there in that crease. And if you're like me, you'll end up dragging your sleeve through it. When I'm not video, I wear these shirts that I don't care if I get ink on, don't get a glue on, it doesn't matter. But I didn't figure you wanted to see that, so I dressed up for you. Just lay that down. And again, we're going to give it a smash here. If you can see that, all I'm doing is covering the entire thing with glue. And they just have to be long enough so when you fold over your ends, the ends of this paper, your covering paper, is covered. Squish. Take your finger and run it right down the crease. You just don't want it too long. You don't want it to hang over. Our last little piece. There, we've got it all done. Let's start gluing our flaps down. When you glue your flaps, you want to make sure that you get glue on the edge, that little tiny edge of your chipboard or your box, just so that it adheres, doesn't bubble. This is where you want to be careful and not get any on the outside of your paper, because I ink it, and when you ink over that, over the glue, it's going to be shiny. So we try to avoid that the best we can. Now we start folding it over. We're going to start in the middle and we're going to bring it up with our hands and then roll it up onto your cardstock here. That way it gets really firm against that tiny little edge there. Side that I got crooked on got a little short, but I think it's going to be just fine because we are covering it, so we've only got about a half an inch, because our paper here in the US is 8.5 by 11 and these measure 9, so you've got about a half an inch on each side. Start in the middle, just roll it up there. If it wants to wrinkle on you, just rub them out. And they do sometimes, like right there. And squish them out. Now we're going to do the ends here. What we're going to do, you can take your bone folder if you want, or a butter knife. Use the blunt side of a butter knife, and you can just, I just take my fingernail because it's smaller, and I just crease right along the edge of the chipboard. Edge. Don't get too much on those edges, just enough to glue it down because we don't want any on our outside. And if we do accidentally get some there, just rub it off really good with a paper towel. Again, we're going to start in the middle. Edges are perfect, they're not hanging over. Edge there. And in the middle, just roll it up. Make sure there's no glue. Now we're going to take our bone folder, or back of the butter knife, whichever, and we're going to go down each one of these sections where the little, I can't even think, in between the tooth, the little gap we left there. Just to get our paper nice and down, and you want to give it up, make sure that it doesn't bubble out the paper. And if you can't see it, just give it a little bit of tug there. Get your crease going. Don't rub with your point, rub with the rounded edge there. Give it a sample, yeah, that's good. And you want to give the edges a little bit longer of a rub because you've got 2 layers of cards of your packing paper there. Yep, that looks good. This one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Here's your front. This is your front. This is your bottom. This is your top. And this is your flag. There you go. There's our suitcase. Just like so. Now, what I do, because I'm an inker, you do not have to ink by any means. And you can make a big mess because all you're going to see is a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be a straight line. Doesn't have to be pretty. Real good. And people ask why these are finger daubers. These get on Amazon. They're very inexpensive. I just like those. A lot of people use other kinds. That's fine. Whatever you like. There's no rules. And what I'm doing here is I'm inking the bends of each one. About 1/2 inch on each side, which is just about the width of the dauber. You want to try to get it kind of all the same color. It's really not going to matter because you're not going to see that much of it. When you can go grab a snack, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do the same thing over and over and over. I'm going to do the inside also of the folds. Do diaper in a minute. I'm going to grab one now. Here we go. Now we have a purple one. And yes, it looks like we have a big mess going on, but I promise it will work out. Another thing you don't want to do is make sure that you don't get your paper damp. If you get a little bit of water on it, it will shine also. There, we got everybody done. Now we're going to do all the edges. One last edge. And here we are. Nice inked up box. Now this is where you have to be careful of the orientation you have your box in. This is the front. This is the paper that I chose out of her collection of leather papers. It's going to go well with the journal that I'm making, which is also from her store, Victorian Writer, and it just kind of looked like an ornate leather that someone would have for a satchel or anything. Now, the amount you leave when you want to glue these down is entirely up to you. If you want to glue the whole thing, cover the whole thing, fine. I like to leave just a little bit, like so, and it's a guesstimate. If I was to measure it, I'd say that's about 1/4 of an inch. Not quite 1/4, just right in between an 1/8 and 1/4. So I'm just going to put a little mark. Want to make sure that the top and the sides are approximately the same width. This is that the chipboard, the covered chipboard, is sticking out the same amount all the way around. So just take your pencil, and when you're on something colored like this, it'll also help if you just flip it over. Then you can really see your mark pretty good. Just make a little mark there. Get your paper cutter. Measure here. Wrong size. There we go. I thought, oh my gosh, what'd I do? Nothing. But turned it upside down. Put a little mark there. Trim it off. Put some mark. You mark with the pencil. If you hold it up, just gonna take better eyes than mine. If you hold it up, your pencil mark will generally shine. This way, then my old eyes won't be able to go, where in the world did I mark? There we go. And because I don't like white edges whatsoever, I'll ink them up a little bit. Excuse me. Get our glue. I think I like it this way. And you are going to cover the inside and the outside. Think of it just like a regular journal cover. Both sides have decorative paper on them. Same way with our suitcase. Make sure you get your corners real good. With wet glue, you've got a lot of wiggle room here. That looks good. Now, if you wanted, I just keep doing it the same way, lay the paper down and measure it. You could measure this piece because you've got the identical back here, just like your front, same size, so you could just measure whatever you did here, cut it and lay it on there. Now I'm going to move to, this would be the bottom. Remember, this is our front, like so. So this would be the bottom. Make sure we've got our paper going right. It's this way, yep. Measure up against this, that way. Let's do it the easy way, Linda. That way all your pieces are the same width. I'm looking at these little curls and seeing which way I've got them, and they're all going down, it looks like, yes. And we're going to do about the same, keeping the same amount of space there. Yep, that looks good, so we'll turn it over. You can see a mark. Here's our little, where they come together right here. I can't think today. Approximately there. You ever have that where you can't think of a word? There we go. That would be perfect. Ink it up. And I'll just do the outside because the inside you're going to do exactly the way you did the outside. And again, you have two pieces that are the same, the bottom and the top. So you do one of them and you can measure off of it to get your next one. But what you always want to do when you're starting with a fresh piece to cut, because our piece is 9 inches and our paper is 11 inches US. You want to make sure that you measure up against it, make sure that it's absolutely perfect. And I may have it a tiny bit bigger there, I think I do. Let's just make a line there. Just a sliver. There's all kinds of different closures you could put on the front. Tim Holtz has a ton of them. Also in the sewing section, there's all kinds of closures. You could just put a big buckle if you wanted just one single buckle, 2 small ones. I usually use the Tim Holtz like this. It's just called buckles. Doesn't have a number on it. Not that I see. The SKU number is 40861-93064. And they're just from Tim Holtz. it up here. Make sure these spaces are as close as you can get them to be the same. Our back. And this is where you could use your front section to measure if you wanted. Measure it all the same. I'm just going to put this up against this piece here. Put my mark so I know I'm the same width. And it'll take about 4 pieces of 8.5 by 11 to cover your journal. Not to lean over and get my head in the picture, so I'm a little off on my cutting. You don't need to see my messy hair this morning. And again, I got a little bit long. Better too long than too short. One top, one side pretty much, and just let go of it. It will fall straight. Hopefully. Excuse me. Drink of water. Water is not my favorite thing. I like to drink iced tea. Sweet tea. Here, this is our top. Show you how we're going here, like so. See, we've got the back, the bottom, and the front. So now we're working on the top. And let's see if one of my scraps is big enough. This one may be. Perfect. A little bit long, but we can deal with that. This way. Just a tad. This is one of the scraps that I cut off the other, when I did the bottom, the other piece. So we got 2 pieces in one, which is a good thing. Y'all are having fun crafting. I love to do new things. And I'm still working. I'm trying to get my newsletter done. All my wonderful customers and followers, they're going, Linda, where are you? Well, I got backed up because I have wonderful customers. They keep me busy doing made-to-orders. So I get all their journals done. And then I decided that I would share my granddaughter's colt with myself. So there was no way. I sounded like a cat trying to hack up a fur ball. It was awful. But I'm better. On the road. I swear elementary schools are like little petri dishes. They grow every kind of bacteria there is. Okay, now this is our front flap here. Let's check and see if we have, I bet we've got a scrap that'll fit it. Let's see. Perfect. So we only needed 3 pieces to do this. Like I said, if you wanted to measure, all you would have to do, if you wanted to leave 1/2 inch on each side, is to cut your paper 8 1/2 this way. And we'll pick it up. So anyway, I promise I will get to the tutorial. Matter of fact, I may just add this to the tutorials and send out to you guys. We will see. It's gonna go there. Looks like it fits good. Last piece. I am doing a tutorial. I started it and had to stop because of my cough. But it's going to be on digital and SVG designs for you. Their Globetrotter travel folio. It is so cute. It's in my store if you want to go have a look. Stop on over by, her Etsy store, pick up yours, and then we can do it together if you would like. But I thought we would start out with something not so involved, like a folio, and then we'll get around. I'll do an entire section of the journals, the interactive parts with the flips and the flops and the fold outs and all that good stuff. We'll do some acetate windows, and pretty soon y'all take my place. So here's what we got, ladies. Here is our little suitcase. Put our little hooks on, our little buckles. They're going to go here and here. And when you get this, you get 3 different colors. There's kind of an antique gold, a darker one, and a silver one. And then I will put the strap on the top. And when I do the strap, let me give you a little tip here before I go away. As I take a piece of cardstock, any cardstock you have, because you're going to cover it up. Just make sure there's not white on the bottom. So, let's say I was going to use this little scrap here. I'd cover the white side. And then I've got a scrap. This is real leather. It's pretty heavy. You can pick them up at Hobby Lobby, fabric store, whatever. And I just cut, it's about, let's see, about 1 1/2 inches. About 1 1/4 inches wide. And I just cover this. Glue it on there, and I use hot glue to glue this leather down. Then you're just going to cup it like that. Top here. Pretend this is all covered with the leather. Then you just cup it like so. This would be 1 1/4 inches wide instead of the width it is here. And then just glue it down, or you can use some brads. If you're going to use brads, now would be the time to do it before you cover the inside, because you want your brads to be covered up. And anytime you use a brad and you're going to be putting cardstock over it, just take a little piece of Scotch tape, double-sided tape, whatever you have, and cover up the little prongs on it so it doesn't poke through your paper. And the same with your little buckles. If you want to use brads, there's a little hole. Let me take one of these little guys out for you so you can see. There's a little hole there. You see it? And that's where the brads that come with it go. Just measure down where you want it. Measure in. How far? Make sure it's the same on this side. This part is up from the bottom on the same side. Put a little hole there. And if you've got a big crocodile, that helps. If you don't know what that is, it's this enormous thing. And you can push it back and it will punch a hole. See right there? And it will punch a hole in this chipboard. If not, use an ice pick. A normal hole punch will not go through the chipboard without ruining it. That's all you would do, and then just cut a piece of your leather or whatever you're using. Make sure that it's smaller than the opening of the buckle so it slides through. You can put eyelets in it if you want. I usually put a couple just so my little prong here for the buckle will go through it and hold it. Just threads through this little piece right here. And you'll see this finished when I put it in my Etsy store, see what the finished thing looks like. But there you are, my ladies. That simple, that easy. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate the time. This was a long one. I hope I helped you. If you have any questions whatsoever, just reach out, contact seller on my Etsy store, and I will be glad to answer any question you have. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to stop by Digital and SVG Designs for You. Get your leather paper. Bye-bye.